Okay, so let's talk about summing matrices or a summing matrix. This is a row or column matrix where all the elements are 1. It's called a summing matrix. So this is a row or a column matrix. Now, why we have them is to sum the rows or sum the columns of a matrix. So that means, to add up the rows or to add up the columns of a matrix. So it's a way to do it by using matrices. So little things you have to remember. Again, remembering that the order that we do things in is always very important. So using matrix multiplication to sum the rows and columns of a matrix. To sum the rows of an n by n matrix, post multiply, that means put it after the matrix with an n by 1 summing matrix. To sum the columns of an m by n matrix, pre-multiply, that means you put it before the matrix with a 1 by m summing matrix. Okay, so I've got a couple of examples here. So this first one, I'm summing the rows. So you can see I've put a summing matrix after the matrix I want to add up, of the rows that I want to add up. So this is what it means by post multiply. It's after it. So it's this matrix times by this matrix. And now you can see that 2 plus 5 is 7, 3 plus 0 is 3, 6 plus 4 is 10. Now this is why this works. We've got 2 times 1 plus 5 times 1. Yep. So 2 plus 5 gives you 7. So 3 times 1 plus 0 times 1. You can see there. Gives you 3. And 6 times 1 plus 4 times 1. So this sums up what's in a row. Here we're summing up what's in a column. Okay, so I've got that same matrix, but here instead of wanting to add the rows up, I'm adding the columns. You can see I'm pre-multiplying by a row matrix. So that means I've placed it before, to the left-hand side of the matrix. Okay, now you could, do your own little addition there. 2 plus 3 plus 6 is 11, 5 plus 0 plus 4 is 9, yep. But here's the multiplication. So 1 times by 2 plus 1 times by 3 plus 1 times by 6. You can see that there. 1 times 2 plus 1 times 3 plus 1 times 6. And you can see the other column here, 1 times 5 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 times 4. And all of that will give you that element, which is 9. Okay, so here we've got a store that sells iPhones and Galaxy phones at 3 locations, Northland, Eastland and Southland. The number of phones sold is shown in the matrix below. So you can see I've got the model of phones as represented by the rows, and the columns are representing each store. So that's Northland sales, Eastland, Southland, iPhone sales, Galaxy phone sales. Okay, first off, we want to figure out the total number of iPhones sold in all stores. So we want to sum the rows. I want to add up, the rows to figure that out. So 30 times 1 plus 25 times 1 plus 29 times 1 gives you 84. 18 times 1 plus 15 times 1 plus 16 times 1 gives you 49. And then we extract that information to answer the question. Now, here we want to find the total phones sold in Southland. So, in other words, I'm interested in the total of there. So, we want to sum those columns. Now, 1 times 30 plus 1 times 18, 48. 1 times 25 plus 1 times 15, 40. 1 times 29 plus 1 times 16 is 45. And then I extract the information to get the answer to the question. Okay. Now, let's have a look at